I believe it's original paint, looks like original stripes, bucket seat, houndstooth interior, 383 4-barrel. To me, it looks like, especially since you guys are doing all this PDR stuff.
Behind the friendly banter and classic cars, Fast and Loud was hiding fractures so deep that Dennis Collins refused to do business with multiple cast members altogether. Dennis was one of Richard Rawlings' closest allies and one of the few people with the credibility and leverage to walk away when lines were crossed. While viewers saw him as knowledgeable and drama-free, behind the scenes, Collins was quietly refusing to work with certain Fast and Loud cast members altogether. So which 5 cast members did Dennis Collins refuse to work with, and why? Join us as we uncover the real reasons why Dennis Collins refused to work with these 5 Fast and Loud cast members. The collector who became a TV personality. Dennis Collins didn't start as a television personality. He was a successful entrepreneur and car collector long before Fast and Loud premiered in 2012. Collins founded Collins Brothers Jeep in Wiley, Texas, building a thriving automotive business that gave him both the resources and the passion to pursue vintage car collecting at the highest level. His collection includes rare and valuable vehicles spanning decades of automotive history, from classic muscle cars to exotic imports. Collins' friendship with Richard Rawlings predates the television show by many years. The two became friends in 1996 and have maintained a close relationship for decades, bonded by their shared love of cars and their complementary business approaches. While Richard built his reputation on buying, restoring, and flipping vehicles quickly for profit, Dennis focused on acquiring and maintaining a curated collection of significant automobiles. This difference in approach created a natural dynamic in television. Richard needed to sell cars to keep his business running, while Dennis had the capital and the interest to buy quality vehicles. When Fast and Loud launched on Discovery Channel, Dennis became a recurring presence, appearing in episodes where Gas Monkey Garage had completed builds that might interest a serious collector. His role was that of the discerning buyer, someone who appreciated quality work and was willing to pay fair prices for vehicles that met his standards. Unlike some buyers featured on the show who haggled aggressively or dismissed the crew's work, Dennis approached purchases professionally and respectfully. Dennis Collins appeared in 14 episodes of Fast and Loud between 2012 and 2017, making him one of the more frequent guest personalities. His appearances were often highlights for viewers who appreciated seeing someone genuinely knowledgeable about automotive history evaluate the Gas Monkey builds. Collins brought credibility to the show when he approved of a restoration or custom build. Viewers knew it met legitimate collector standards rather than just television standards. Beyond his role as a buyer, Dennis and Richard's friendship was showcased through various adventures and projects. The two shared a passion for high-speed driving and automotive challenges, which led to one of their most famous collaborations, breaking the Cannonball Run record. The Cannonball Run, an illegal cross-country race from New York to Los Angeles, had become legendary in automotive culture. In 2013, Richard Rawlings and Dennis Collins broke the Cannonball Run record, completing the coast-to-coast drive in 31 hours and 59 minutes in a modified Ferrari 550 Maranello. This record-breaking run was featured on Fast and Loud and demonstrated the genuine friendship and trust between Richard and Dennis. Undertaking such a challenging and legally questionable endeavor required complete confidence in each other's driving abilities, judgment, and commitment. The successful record attempt became part of Gas Monkey Garage lore and solidified Dennis's position as more than just a customer. He was Richard's friend and partner in automotive adventures. However, Dennis Collins was never a full-time cast member or employee of Gas Monkey Garage. He maintained his own successful businesses, including Collins Brothers Jeep and other ventures, while appearing on Fast and Loud as his schedule and interest allowed. This independence meant Dennis could engage with the show on his own terms, without the pressures and conflicts that affected full-time cast members who depended on Gas Monkey Garage for their livelihoods. Dennis Collins managed to maintain a positive relationship with Richard Rawlings while keeping his independence. But not everyone at Gas Monkey Garage found it so easy to balance working with Richard's demanding personality. What made the working environment so challenging for those who were full-time employees? The departure that shocked fans. Aaron Kaufman was the technical genius whose skills made Richard Rawlings' ambitious builds possible. From the show's premiere in 2012, Aaron became a fan favorite for his understated personality, incredible mechanical abilities, and occasional willingness to push back against Richard's demands. His departure in 2017 marked a turning point for Fast and Loud and revealed deep fractures in the relationship between the show's two most important personalities. Aaron Kaufman announced his departure from Gas Monkey Garage in January 2017, leaving after being with the shop since 2004 and appearing on Fast and Loud throughout its run. The announcement shocked fans who had watched Aaron and Richard work together for years, building some of the most impressive custom vehicles featured on the show. Aaron had been with Richard long before television fame, making his exit particularly significant. The reasons for Aaron's departure were complex and multifaceted. The primary issue was creative differences regarding the direction of builds and the shop's focus. Aaron wanted to pursue his passion for building custom trucks and specifically Ford F-100 projects, while Richard wanted to maintain focus on the broader range of vehicles that appealed to Gas Monkey's diverse customer base. This fundamental disagreement about the shop's direction had been simmering for years before finally reaching a breaking point. Aaron's passion for Ford trucks, particularly vintage F-100s, was well known to fans. He frequently expressed enthusiasm for truck builds on the show and demonstrated exceptional skill in fabricating custom suspension, drivetrain, and body modifications for these vehicles. However, Richard's business model emphasized variety and volume, building whatever would sell quickly and profitably rather than specializing in a particular niche. This approach made business sense, but stifled Aaron's creative desires. The deadline pressure that defined Gas Monkey Garage's operation was another major factor in Aaron's decision to leave. As a master craftsman, Aaron took pride in quality work and attention to detail. The constant rush to complete builds faster and cheaper conflicted with his professional standards and personal values. He wanted time to perfect fabrication work, solve problems properly, and create vehicles he could be proud of rather than constantly compromising quality for speed. Financial considerations also played a role, though this was discussed more discreetly. While Richard's wealth and business empire expanded dramatically thanks to Fast and Loud, Aaron's compensation, though certainly comfortable, didn't reflect his crucial role in the show's success. The realization that he was making someone else wealthy while his own earning potential remained limited contributed to his decision to strike out on his own. The relationship between Aaron and Richard had deteriorated over the years. What began as a productive partnership between businessman and craftsman evolved into a relationship marked by disagreements, tension, and mutual frustration. Their on-screen conflicts, which producers often played up for drama, reflected genuine underlying tensions. Aaron grew tired of being positioned as the obstacle to Richard's plans, rather than being recognized as a vital creative force. After leaving Gas Monkey Garage, Aaron pursued his own vision through ArcLight Fabrication, a company focused on building custom vehicles, particularly Ford F-100 trucks. He also landed his own Discovery series, Shifting Gears with Aaron Kaufman, which premiered in 2018. The show documented Aaron's efforts to build his business and pursue projects that genuinely excited him without the constraints he experienced at Gas Monkey. Aaron's departure had immediate and lasting impacts on Fast and Loud. The show lost its most popular cast member and the technical expertise that had been fundamental to completing complex builds. Richard had to restructure the shop, bringing in new mechanics and fabricators who could fill the void Aaron left. However, fans noticed a decline in build quality and complexity after Aaron's exit, and ratings suffered as viewers who had specifically tuned in to watch Aaron work lost interest in the show. The split between Aaron and Richard was initially handled diplomatically in public statements, with both men expressing mutual respect and emphasizing that the separation was about pursuing different goals rather than personal animosity. However, as time passed, tensions became more apparent. Richard made comments in interviews suggesting that Aaron's departure was about ego and wanting to be the star of his own show. Aaron, in turn, spoke about feeling undervalued and creatively constrained at Gas Monkey Garage. Aaron Kaufman's departure was the most high-profile exit from Gas Monkey Garage, but he wasn't the only key cast member who decided Richard Rawlings' shop wasn't where they wanted to build their future. Who else walked away, and what drove their decisions? The quiet departures. While Aaron Kaufman's exit grabbed headlines and dominated fan discussions, other cast members also left Gas Monkey Garage under less publicized but equally telling circumstances. Sue Martin and K.C. Mathieu, both skilled professionals who contributed significantly to the shop's success during their tenures, departed for reasons that shed additional light on the challenges of working for Richard Rawlings. Sue Martin, known as Pseudo on the show, was Gas Monkey Garage's parts and purchasing manager. Sue Martin appeared on Fast and Loud from early in the show's run, but left Gas Monkey Garage before the series concluded. Her role was crucial. She sourced the parts needed for builds, managed vendor relationships, negotiated prices, and ensured that materials arrived when needed. In a shop operating on tight deadlines, parts procurement could make or break a project's timeline. Sue's departure was handled quietly, without the dramatic announcements or extensive media coverage that accompanied Aaron's exit. This lower profile doesn't mean her reasons for leaving were any less significant. Those who worked with Sue have suggested that the constant pressure, unrealistic expectations, and stress of trying to source parts for last-minute builds while staying within tight budgets became unsustainable. The television production schedule added complexity to an already challenging job, as certain parts needed to arrive within filming windows to maintain narrative continuity. Additionally, Sue experienced some of the same issues that affected other employees, feeling undervalued, dealing with Richard's management style, and recognizing that her contributions to the shop's success weren't adequately reflected in her compensation or recognition. While viewers saw the completed cars and the mechanics working on them, the behind-the-scenes work of parts procurement often went unrecognized despite being essential to every build. K.C. Mathieu, a fabricator who appeared on the show during several seasons, also left Gas Monkey Garage before Fast and Loud concluded. K.C. was known for his fabrication skills and his easygoing personality that contrasted with the high-stress environment at the shop. His work on custom metal fabrication, chassis modifications, and specialized projects contributed to some of Gas Monkey's most impressive builds. K.C.'s departure, like Sue's, didn't generate extensive public discussion or detailed explanations. However, the pattern was becoming clear. Skilled professionals who had alternatives chose to leave Gas Monkey Garage despite the shop's fame and Richard's success. For fabricators like K.C., the custom car industry offers numerous opportunities. Talented metalworkers can find employment at other shops, start their own businesses, or work as independent contractors serving multiple clients. Richard Rawlings had to continuously recruit and train new employees to replace those who left. While some departures were handled amicably and former employees spoke positively about their time at Gas Monkey, the ongoing turnover suggested underlying issues that went beyond normal workplace dynamics. Each departure meant lost institutional knowledge, disrupted team chemistry, and the need to bring new people up to speed on shop procedures and expectations. Sue Martin and K.C. Mathieu's exits added to the growing list of talented people who chose to leave Gas Monkey Garage. But was there something specific about Richard Rawlings' approach to business and management that made retention so challenging? Richard Rawlings' management style under scrutiny. Richard Rawlings' success as an entrepreneur is undeniable. He built Gas Monkey Garage from a small operation into a multi-million-dollar brand encompassing television, restaurants, merchandise, and more. However, his management style and approach to employee relationships have been subjects of criticism from former staff members, industry observers, and even viewers who noticed patterns in how he treated his team on camera. Richard's background as a hustler and deal-maker shaped his approach to running Gas Monkey Garage. Before starting the shop, Richard had worked in various sales and entrepreneurial ventures, developing an aggressive, results-oriented approach to business. This mentality served him well in negotiating vehicle purchases and building his brand, but created challenges when managing skilled craftsmen who valued quality and creative expression over pure profit maximization. One consistent criticism of Richard's management was his tendency to micromanage while simultaneously being absent from the day-to-day technical work. He would involve himself in decisions about builds, timelines, and approaches without having the hands-on expertise that mechanics like Aaron Kaufman possessed. This created situations where Richard would push for solutions that weren't technically optimal or feasible, then criticize his team when results didn't meet expectations. The prioritization of television over actual automotive work also created tension. Builds had to be scheduled around filming availability. Certain dramatic moments had to be captured or recreated for cameras, and the natural flow of restoration work was constantly interrupted by production requirements. Richard, as the show's star and the person benefiting most from television success, prioritized these production needs. His employees, whose primary interest was doing good work, found this frustrating. Financial transparency, or the lack thereof, was another source of tension. Employees knew that Fast and Loud was successful and that Richard's brand was expanding, but they didn't see corresponding increases in their own compensation. Richard's visible wealth, including his car collection, real estate, and lifestyle, contrasted with the relatively modest wages paid to shop employees. This disparity wasn't unique to Gas Monkey Garage, but it became more pronounced because of the show's success. Richard's approach to conflict resolution also contributed to departures. Rather than addressing employee concerns through private discussions and genuine attempts at compromise, Richard often dismissed complaints as lack of commitment or unwillingness to work hard. This dismissive attitude made employees feel unheard and undervalued, ultimately pushing them toward exit strategies rather than trying to improve their situations within Gas Monkey Garage. Some former employees and industry observers have suggested that Richard viewed his staff as interchangeable parts rather than valued team members. The relatively high turnover at Gas Monkey Garage, including the departures of key cast members, supports this interpretation. If employees felt they were just cogs in Richard's money-making machine, rather than respected professionals contributing to a shared vision, their loyalty would naturally be limited. Richard's public responses to employee departures sometimes revealed his perspective on these relationships. When Aaron Kaufman left, Richard's comments suggested he felt betrayed, or at least disappointed, that Aaron prioritized his own goals over continued work at Gas Monkey Garage. This reaction indicated that Richard expected loyalty from employees, even when his management style and business decisions created conditions that made staying difficult. Richard Rawlings' management approach helped build a television empire, but contributed to significant employee departures. Were there other factors beyond management style that made Gas Monkey Garage a difficult long-term workplace? Behind the scenes of Fast and Loud, the presence of television cameras fundamentally changed the dynamics at Gas Monkey Garage, adding layers of complexity, pressure, and artificiality that affected everyone involved. Understanding why cast members left requires examining how reality television production impacted the actual work environment and relationships within the shop. Reality television is never truly real. It's constructed entertainment that uses real people and situations, but shapes them through editing, producer intervention, and the demands of creating compelling narratives. Fast and Loud production involved multiple camera crews, producers, and support staff who were constantly present at Gas Monkey Garage during filming, disrupting normal workflow and creating pressure to perform for cameras. This constant presence made genuine, spontaneous work nearly impossible. The need to create drama for ratings led producers to emphasize conflicts and manufacture situations that wouldn't naturally occur. Arguments between Richard and Aaron, for instance, were sometimes amplified or extended for camera time. While genuine tensions existed between them, the television format required these conflicts to be performed, repeated from different angles, and edited into compelling story arcs. This performative aspect of workplace disagreements made authentic resolution difficult and may have exacerbated underlying tensions. Filming schedules added enormous pressure to an already demanding work environment. Builds had to be completed within production windows, specific milestones had to be reached by certain filming dates, and dramatic reveals needed to happen when cameras were present. This meant that natural workflows were constantly disrupted, with employees sometimes working overnight to meet filming deadlines rather than actual customer delivery schedules. Privacy became a significant issue for cast members. Being on a successful television show meant losing anonymity and dealing with public recognition, social media attention, and scrutiny of personal lives. For some, like Aaron Kaufman, this attention was initially exciting, but eventually became burdensome. Others found that the public nature of their work at Gas Monkey Garage spilled over into their private lives in uncomfortable ways. The pressure to maintain ratings as the show progressed also affected content decisions. Later seasons of Fast and Loud featured increasingly ambitious builds, tighter deadlines, and more manufactured drama as producers sought to maintain viewer interest. This escalation made the work environment even more stressful and potentially contributed to skilled employees deciding they'd had enough. Finally, the eventual decline in ratings and uncertainty about the show's future added stress. As Fast and Loud entered later seasons, viewership declined from peak numbers. Cast members had to wonder whether the sacrifices they were making for television success were worth it if the show might soon be canceled anyway. As Fast and Loud concluded in 2020 after 8 seasons, Gas Monkey Garage continued operating, though without the television platform that had made it famous. Richard Rawlings adapted to these changes, pursuing new television projects, expanding other business ventures, and finding new mechanics and fabricators to staff his shop. Did Richard Rawlings ever learn from his management missteps, or were the tensions inevitable? And what other factors pushed cast members to walk away? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.